Hello and welcome to this installment of our series of Gener8 Business and Life Solutions webinars. We really create these so that you can step out of your practice in your business for short periods of time to really focus on how you do things in your business so that you can be more effective. So welcome to today. My name is Jennifer Myers, and I am one of the team here at Gener8 Business and Life Solutions. I'm a certified business and leadership coach and a certified DISC behavioral styles consultant. So the topic today, I'm going to share my screen with you really quickly so that we can start to dive into today's topic. And the topic today is 5 connection principles and 5 connection practices. Now, what I'm going to be sharing with you today is a huge subject, and I'm basing the information today on a book by John Maxwell called Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. And you'll see a little picture of the cover up there on the top of your screen. And my purpose here today is really to help you understand that leadership is a teachable skill, right? And to give you some really practical information that you can take away from today and apply right away. So I want to convince you, if you're not already convinced, that we're all leaders in one way or another. And leadership comes down to just one thing: the ability to influence. Leadership is influence. And if it's influence, that means that it depends on our ability to connect with people in order to be effective. Now, since moving here from the States, I've done nothing but coach, train, and speak as a part of Gener8 Business and Life Solutions and as one of the owners of Gener8 Leadership Solutions. I do this for a wide variety of service-oriented professionals, from dentists and GPs to professionals and people in the accounting and legal professions and financial services. So a wide variety of people who really sell the intangible, right? Now, part of what we do as Gener8 Business and Life Solutions is we help our clients to build robust, resilient practices in businesses. We also support those clients to develop their leaders, and we help their teams learn to communicate and build relationships more effectively with their customers, their patients, within the team, right? So as I mentioned, I'm a certified leadership and business coach with the John Maxwell team. We're a rare breed here in New Zealand, and we've got access to world-class tools and programs that we can bring to the table to help our clients. Now, this is my colleague at Gener8 Business and Life Solutions. This is Craig Yarndley. He's a chartered accountant, and he owns Gener8 Business and Life Solutions. He's also my business partner in Gener8 Leadership Solutions. So what do we do at Gener8 Business and Life Solutions? Well, we kind of help you from soup to nuts, right? From strategy and planning all the way through growth, whatever that happens to look like for your business or your practice, and exit. What is the next thing when it comes time to step away from the chair, get out of being on the tools, right? What does it look like? And what's next for you? How do we do what we do? We build relationships with our clients. We get to know you in your business and your practice on a deeper level so that we can really walk alongside you as your trusted coaches and consultants, professional to professional. We educate, right? We have heaps of information, IP, knowledge, practical experience that we bring to the table to help you with both your business or practice and your life, right? And we've got heaps of resources. We've got relationships with an extended team of experienced professionals in other areas like health and safety, human resources, and investing, who we utilize to support you where and when you need them. Why us? Yep, there's a lot of things that we have going for us. We're small enough, right, to be able to customize what we do to what you need. But we are big enough to have access to a huge team of experts around us that we can connect you with. So we've got a lot of resources at our fingertips that we can bring to the table for your benefit. And we come to you, right? We can work virtually, or we come to you anywhere in New Zealand. So no need to travel to us or travel over the ditch to Oz. Now, only one thing stands between you and greater success in your personal and professional life. It isn't knowledge or degrees or skills or experience or talent. It's your ability to connect with people, your team, your patients, your clients. In a world where success is increasingly dependent upon collaboration, you must learn to connect with others. It's a common misconception that certain people are born with the ability to connect. And yet the truth is anyone can learn how to do it and make every connection an opportunity for a powerful interaction. So here's a quote from John Maxwell, which I find, which I love. When I went forward. So the quote is, if you ask me, what's the one thing you can do to be more successful? I'd say learn to communicate, which brings me to principle number 1, which is we're going to do 5 connecting principles and 5 connecting practices. So principle number 1 is connecting increases your influence in every situation. Now, if I ask all of you out there who are watching this today, how many of you would like to improve your results in your practice, in your business, with the people you lead and influence? Almost every single one of you would immediately say, yep. And for the few that wouldn't immediately say, yep, if you got really honest with yourself, you'd eventually say yep too. Because the bottom line is, we all want to improve the results that we're getting in our lives and at work. Whatever that work entails doesn't matter. For a lot of people, results means more money, more time, better lifestyle, better relationships, better health. And what I've come to realize, and it's taken me far longer than it should have, but the truth is, if you want to get better results, you've got to get better at connecting with people. I'm talking about fathers, mothers, spouses, someone who runs their own business, an employee or a team lead, a director or CEO. It doesn't matter who you are. You can improve your results by improving your ability to connect and influence people in an ethical way. We need people. You can't accomplish anything worthwhile on your own. We need to be able to connect and influence other people to succeed. The friction you often experience in relationships throughout your day-to-day life really kind of comes down to leading, connecting, and influence. And everything I'm talking about is absolutely a 100% teachable skill, which means you can learn to connect, you can learn to lead, and you can learn to improve your ability to influence people if you want to. I spend a great deal of time trying to convince people that it's a common misconception that certain people are born with the ability to connect. Yet the truth is, anyone can learn how to make every communication an opportunity for a powerful connection. It's within your reach. It might be out of your comfort zone, but it's within your reach. The reason is that learning to connect can make such a difference to your results, that it's a neglected skill. Most people don't give any thought whatsoever to developing their ability to connect with people, either because they don't see it as a skill or they don't see it as important. And because they don't give it any thought, it's outside their awareness. They're not conscious of the impact it has on them. And this probably wouldn't be such a problem if people weren't so emotional. Human beings are emotional creatures at heart. We have an intellect. We kid ourselves that we're rational, logical human beings, but that's a facade. We're emotional creatures. Emotions rule our lives. Why is this a problem? Well, have you heard the phrase, he does that if you push his buttons? Or you'll know if you woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. We can all be logical in certain situations, but there are others that with certain trigger can flip a switch and we can't help ourselves, and the emotional storm starts to blow through us and affect those around us. Well, John Maxwell's book, Everyone Communicates, Few Connect, lays out a few powerful learnings split into 2 parts, connecting principles and connecting practices. And when we integrate these and actually apply these to how we behave. The lessons will help redefine and reinvent our personal, professional, and family relationships. Now, obviously, there's more to connecting than we can cover in this webinar today. We could dedicate a whole day, right? A one-day workshop to really understanding those principles of connecting. But let me just summarize them. Applying the principles through the practices that we go over in the workshop is something you can start doing today. So let's dive into some of the key practices so that if this is something that interests you, if you've decided you want to improve your people skills, your ability to connect, then you've got some tools that you can use straight away. So in today's session, as I mentioned, it's based on Everyone Communicates, Few Connect by John Maxwell. Maybe you've heard of him, maybe you haven't. If you haven't, think of Ken Blanchard or Stephen Covey. Well, John Maxwell's right up there with those guys. He's a #1 New York Times best-selling author with over 100 books, a coach and speaker who sold more than 25 million books in 50 languages. In 2014, he was identified as the most influential leadership expert in the world by Business Insider and Inc. magazine. As the founder of several companies, he's trained more than 5 million leaders, and I'm proud to call him my friend, a business partner, and my mentor. He is one of the most skilled communicators and, more importantly, skilled connectors I've ever met. So let's dive into some of his pearls of wisdom around connecting. You don't need to understand why the techniques of connecting work. You just need to understand the principles that underpin them and then apply them. One principle is that connecting increases your influence in every situation. So according to Harvard Business Review, the #1 criteria for advancement and promotion for any professional is the ability to communicate effectively. A presidential historian, Robert Dallek, says that successful US presidents have, and I would venture to say this holds true for most international leaders, they have 5 qualities that enable them to achieve things that others don't in their respective societies. The first is vision. They see further than others. The second is pragmatism. They're able to deal with situations sensibly and realistically. The third is consensus building. They've got a knack for being able to get people with differing views to come to consensus. Charisma. They're charming and inspiring. Trustworthiness. People believe they'll deliver. Let's put aside our political opinions and biases for just a moment and look at the connection abilities of some of recent leaders. During the past 2 general elections right here in New Zealand, we saw a marked difference in how Jacinda Ardern, our current Prime Minister, was able to connect with voters, and how Bill English and Judith Collins, right, the people who were up against her in the elections, struggled to do that in successive elections. So during their debates, Collins came across as a bit hard and impersonal, sorry. English relied on quoting facts and figures, right? Seemed a bit aloof. By contrast, Jacinda came across as compassionate and relatable and connected much better with the audience and ultimately with voters. So we can see these principles in action, right? Even in our own society at the moment. So connecting is the ability to identify with people and relate to them in such a way that it increases our influence with them. As a matter of fact, during the last webinar I recorded for a client, I didn't think that anyone was online live with me. I record these videos, I offer them live, and so people can join in if they're able to, and then they're also able to receive a replay of the recording. So I didn't think anyone was live online with me that particular day. I was actually wrong. So I took an opportunity in the middle of the video to retake a small section of that video so that the recorded version would kind of run the way that I wanted it to. Well, after the event, my one lonely live attendee, who I actually didn't know was there, reached out to me by email to say he so enjoyed watching me be real and do the retake and kind of share my I got to figure this out face as I was going through retaking the little section. You can imagine how mortified I felt when I got that email, but it gave us an opportunity to connect with a bit of a laugh, and it showed him that I was a human, right? Real human, just doing part of my job. So some people connect intuitively. They've got high interpersonal intelligence, right? Emotional intelligence. They seem to value people automatically. Others recognize that connecting is important, but they lack the tools and the techniques. They need to learn to do what others do intuitively. So the better we're able to connect with other people, the better our results. And sometimes we miss connection signals that people share with us. What are those, you ask? Well, let's quickly take a look. When we see signals like this in other people, on our teams, in our patients, in our clients, we can rightfully assume they're feeling connected to us, but we can also display or give out these signals to others intentionally in order to be the example and go first. As leaders, we need to go first and show the way for those who we influence, don't we? So go first, put in the extra effort for your people. Give unsolicited appreciation for their efforts, however small. Communicate more. Trust your people and do what you hired them to do. Allow your emotions to show appropriately so that your team get to know you as a human being. And bring the positive emotion to a given situation. Connecting principle number 2. Connecting is all about others. It's not about us. It's not about you. So let's look at a typical leader in just about any organization, right? Doesn't matter if it's business or medical. He or she may be the owner or director of the practice or the company or the team lead within an office setting. Really doesn't matter. Now, earlier I said that everyone wants to improve results. So that means the leader wants to improve results and everyone in the team wants to improve their results. And everyone could potentially have different agendas, right? We can assume that we all want different results because we all want to improve our own situation. Different things are important to different people, aren't they? So we could represent this graphically like this. Team member A wants to go in this direction, team member B wants to go in this direction, etc. So if the leader of the organization wants to improve results and they don't value others, then there's a tendency to think that the way to improve results is to simply work harder yourself and tell everyone else to do the same. And by the way, how do most people get into leadership positions in the first place? It's normally based on technical ability, isn't it? The best technician gets promoted to the team lead, gets brought on as a partner or a director, right? The trouble is leadership and technical skills are two totally different skill sets. Technical skills are technical skills and leadership is influence. Connecting with people, which comes from valuing people. And technical skills and valuing people are polar opposites. One's left brain, one's right brain. The technician simply doesn't see the world that way. It's all about individual effort. So the leader who can't connect works harder themselves. And look what happens graphically when that happens. The leader works 20% harder or 30% harder. Then each team member works toward their individual goals 20 or 30% harder. What does that do to the overall effort of the team? It goes up very little, doesn't it? That's the blue line. Because they're not all working collaboratively. Working harder makes a big difference to each of those individual people. They have less time to do non-work related things, spend time with friends and family, but it makes very little difference to the overall organization's results. But leaders who are connectors realize that if they could just get another 10% out of everyone on the team, but get it working towards a common goal or a common direction, then it adds up to far more than they can contribute individually, right? Leadership is influence. Leadership is achieving results through others. It's all about others. But the reason connecting is such a skill is it's more complicated than just saying, okay, I'm going to get more out of others. It's not something you can just decide one day and voila, you're instantly a great connector on the next day. You have to learn how to connect. Being able to answer 3 questions for your followers is key. Question number 1 is, do you care for me? Question number 2 is, can you help me? And question number 3 is, can I trust you? If your followers answer yes to each one of those questions in relation to you as their leader, then you'll be well on your way to realizing those exponential benefits. Now, if you recall, here's connecting principle number 3. Connecting is more a skill than a natural talent. And I mentioned that anyone can learn to communicate or to connect in every situation. It's really just like any other skill. You need to learn it and practice it. And I love this quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said, in its relation to speaking, but he said, all great speakers were bad speakers first. Connecting is something anyone can learn to do, but you got to study it and improve and practice, right? And you're going to fail at it. You're going to put your foot in your mouth. You're going to feel awkward until you get good at it. To connect with others, you got to make the most of the skills and experience you already have. There are several factors that great connectors draw upon to cause people to listen to them. And these are especially helpful to those of you who might be in a position you've been newly shifted into, right? Perhaps a practice manager or an admin team lead or nursing team lead. So let's take a quick look at those now. So here's the 5 factors for connecting. The first is relationships. Who you know. Now, a quick way to gain credibility with a group or an individual is to borrow it from someone who already has credibility with them. Who you know can open the door for you to connect with someone. For example, when an existing leader shifts out of their role and someone new steps in to lead the existing team, a great strategy whenever possible is for the existing or familiar leader, the one who's already got credibility, assuming they were connected and had gained the respect of the team, for that existing leader to introduce the new one and engage in some joint activities with the team, jointly running team meetings, being seen together around the facility. When the team sees the respected person lending credibility to the new one, it helps get them over the line on belief in that new person. The next is insight. This is what you know. If you share an area of expertise generously with others, you give people reasons to respect you and develop a sense of connection with you. Don't hoard information if you're in a leadership position. Share it willingly. And as an aside, why do some people, some leaders, not share information with their team members? Well, there's 3 reasons. The first one is ego. I'm the leader, so everyone should come to me for that information. The second is immaturity. I'm insecure in my leadership, so I can't allow anyone else to access the information and begin to shine in their own right. And the third is failure to value them. I don't care about you and your experience in this team. Now, the third connecting factor is success. This is what you have already done. People want to be successful and they seek out others who have accomplished something to get their advice. If you're successful in anything you do, there will be people who will want to listen to you and connect with you. Success breeds trust and credibility. The fourth is ability. What you can do in the future. What is your potential? This is positive expectancy, mojo, if you will. If you have a high level of perceived future potential in any area, others are going to want to connect with you because of that ability and that positive energy. Excellence attracts excellence. And finally, sacrifice. How have you lived? If you've made sacrifices, overcome obstacles, many people are going to relate to you. Just like when I introduce myself at a speaking event, I'll share my story of moving from the US to New Zealand with my husband and daughter and leaving great businesses, large friend circles, and having all the stuff that people outside our family saw as success. We sold or gave away everything we owned, right? And brought 3 suitcases and 3 little boxes halfway around the world to start a new life. If you've been able to remain positive in the midst of life's difficulties, others will admire that. And you'll connect with you. They'll connect with you. Now, not all of us have had experiences like that yet in our leadership careers, but if we haven't, we can share our why or what our purpose is in this situation and make our values clear. And that will help you connect with others around you. This quote by Max Dupree says, there may be no single thing more important in our efforts to achieve meaningful work and fulfilling relationships than to learn to practice the art of communication. The point here is that you must take whatever you have and use it to connect with others. The more factors you have of the 5 we just listed, and the better you become at using them, the greater your chance of connecting with people. You must play to your strengths. Develop your own style and cultivate whatever skills you can in order to connect with others. So let me just recap a couple of key messages so far. Leadership's critical because anything worthwhile you achieve in life, in every area of life, is going to be with and through other people. Everything rises and falls with leadership. And what is leadership? Leadership's influence. How can I develop my ability to influence others? Develop my ability to connect. And how can I develop my skill of connecting? Learning to value others, right? And there starts to be a shift in perception when we take ourselves out of the center of the situation and place others at the center. Let's look at one more principle that can help us learn how to connect. Principle number 4, connecting goes beyond words. We know that 90% of the impression we convey has nothing to do with what we actually say. Furthermore, there are 3 ways that we can intentionally, non-verbally improve our connection with others: through our actions, our thoughts, and our emotions. So to connect with people visually, right? This is through actions. This is expanding our range of expression, being a bit more open, moving with a sense of purpose, and maintaining an open posture. When you're speaking with people, be approachable, right? Be approachable, friendly, open, right? And you can show that through your physical actions. Through thoughts, right? Connecting people to people with thoughts or intellectually, the knowledge that we share has got to be experiential, something those people can relate to. If you're telling a story in order to help connect with someone, tell a story that they can relate to, right? And experience is not only a good teacher, it's a great persuader, an inspirer. You can inspire others through the stories that you share. Emotions, right? To connect with people emotionally, people may hear your words, but they're going to feel your attitude. So do an attitude check before you walk through the door of your office every single morning, right? Make sure you got your attitude in place. And finally, connecting principle number 5, connecting always requires energy. And when I say energy, what I mean is it takes preparation in order to have a great exchange with someone else, doesn't it? So these points: taking the initiative, going first, saying the first thing, reaching out to someone proactively to start a conversation or to address something with them. Go first. Prepare a clear message. Be clear on what it is you want to communicate. What do you want to achieve in that communication with the other person? Be patient, right? Sometimes when we say things, they don't always land the way we think they're going to immediately. Be patient. Try explaining something a different way. Be selfless and give. Give willingly information, time, support. That helps you to build that, do you care for me? Can I trust you? Can you help me with the people who follow you? And recharge your batteries. You're only going to be able to do the other 4 things: taking initiative, clearly communicating, patience, giving. You're only going to be able to do that consistently if you take care of yourself. So make sure that you're recharging your batteries so that you can continue to connect. Now let's move on to the 5 practices for connecting. The first one is find common ground. So how do we do that? There are 8 ways that we can find common ground. The first one is through being available, right? I choose to invest time with others. I choose to make myself available to my team. Through listening, I'm going to listen for clues that they give me when I talk to them to be able to find common ground, to build a relationship on and build a connection on. Questions, I'm going to be interested enough in others to ask them questions. Thoughtfulness, I will think of others and look for ways to help them actively. Openness, I'll let people into my life. I'll let them get to know me as a human being. Likability, I care about people and I'll show them that. I'll show people that I care about them. Humility, I'll think of myself less so that I can think of others more. And adaptability. I'm going to move from my world, my viewpoint, my biases, to theirs. And this is putting yourself in the other person's shoes, right? We've heard that phrase since we were little kids. So, be adaptable and flexible. Connecting practice number 2, keep it simple. Keep it simple. How to keep it simple? Talk to people, not above them, right? Make sure that you're using language appropriate to where they're at. Meet people where they are. Get to the point. Don't waffle. Repeat things, right? Sometimes people need to hear a message over and over and over, and that's okay. That's where the patience factor comes in from a couple slides ago. So get to the point, repeat it, be clear, right? Make sure that you're speaking clearly so that your message has a better chance of being received. And in general, say less. Brevity is a wonderful thing. This is kind of going along with point number 2 of get to the point. So that brings me to connecting practice number 3. Good connectors create an enjoyable experience when they communicate with someone. What does that mean? How do we create an enjoyable experience? Let's look at that really quickly. What that means is that we take responsibility for our listeners, right? We take responsibility for making that communication enjoyable. We don't leave it up to them. We communicate in their world. So this is that concept again of meet them where they are. Communicate in their world with examples they can relate to. Capture attention from the beginning of your conversation, right? Use energy to ensure that they're listening and to engage with them. And say something so it sticks. Use an example. Use something that you did. Share a little gem of experience. Make sure that whatever it is you're sharing in that interaction, you say it so that it sticks. Ensure they've understood you. Is that clear? Does that make sense? Using words like that can help ensure that what you've said is going to stick. Connecting practice number 4, inspire. Jen, this sounds like hard work. How do I inspire people? I don't get it. So when we talk about inspiring, we mean that there are certain things that people who are listening want to know, see, and feel from us in order to be inspired. So what are those things? People want to know that you understand them and that you're focused on them. They want to know that you have high expectations of them, right? That confident belief, positive belief in their abilities. What people see, right? What people need to see is your conviction and your example. So you having an unshakable belief in what you're doing and setting the example that you want others to go by, right? As leaders, we go first and we set the example. And what do people need to feel to be inspired? They need to feel your confidence in yourself and in them. I know you're going to be great at this. That's a great phrase to say to someone who you're leading. I know you're going to be great at this. And your gratitude for them. Even though you get busy and things happen throughout the day that might, put you off your game, make sure that you make time to be appreciative and show gratitude to your team, right? Even for small things. That's really important. People need to know, see, and feel these things from you in order to be inspired by you. And connecting practice number 5, building credibility, building street cred with your team, right? None of this stuff happens overnight. All of the things that we've talked about today take time and practice to implement and to really wrap your head around. So, I'm giving you a lot today, but if you take these notes from today and really digest them, pick one principle at a time. Just work your way through one principle and one practice at a time. You will be more successful. Practice number 5, build credibility. So how do we build credibility? What's the checklist there? Well, the first thing to ask is, have I connected with myself? Do I feel connected to me and my purpose and why I'm doing this? Because we can't lead anyone unless we can lead ourselves. The second way to build credibility is to ask yourself, these are really reflection exercises, to ask yourself, am I accountable? Again, you can't expect to lead people, and you can't expect the people that you lead to want to be accountable to you if you're not willing to be held accountable to them for leading and inspiring and supporting and developing them any way you can as your job as a leader. The third self-reflection question to ask yourself around building credibility is, do I lead like I live? Do I walk the talk that I put out there? The fourth is, do I tell the truth? Am I as open and transparent as I can be in my business or my practice? Not that your team needs to know every wart and everything behind the scenes that you're up to, because it's not relevant. Some of it's not relevant, but am I as open and transparent as I can be with my team? The fifth one is, am I vulnerable? And I've got a really quick story for you here. I've got a coaching client who asked me one day, hey, Jen, is it appropriate for me to share this particular story from my childhood with my team today at our training session, because it might help them understand why I do things the way I do? And I said, absolutely. If you feel that that's going to help people connect to you as a human being, then it's going to show your vulnerability. You're human, right? You've got feelings. So yeah, be vulnerable. Number 6, am I following the platinum rule? Am I treating my team the way they want to be treated? And the last one is, do I deliver results? Am I credible and great at what I do? Because that's reassuring to your followers. All right, so take a look at this really quickly. 5 seconds. Decide what you see. Some of you are going to see a black vase. Some of you are going to see 2 people face to face looking at each other. It all depends on where your awareness is. Because once I said the opposite of what you first saw, did you see the other? But it's the same picture. That's interesting, isn't it? The same picture viewed differently by different people. Well, if the picture is the same, then the difference must be in the individual, right? There is something different that's happened to the average adult that changes the way we see things. And that difference is called conditioning. See, we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. And this goes a long way towards explaining why we don't get what we want. We get what we are. The implications for this are enormous. And the implications of this with regard to communication are enormous. We all see the world differently. Now, this is a simple example, but it illustrates a powerful point in that we're all different. We all see the world differently. We've got different beliefs, different values. Different things are important to us, which makes connecting with a diverse group of people pretty challenging at times. That's where I and we as Gener8 come in to help support you to learn how to better connect with those you lead. From the one-to-one and group coaching and mastermind programs we offer, to the DISC communication styles reports we generate for our clients and their teams. We briefly touched on a few principles for communicating and connecting today. Imagine doing a deeper dive into these lessons in a group setting or individually through private coaching. What would happen to you if you and your team took a deeper dive into becoming better communicators? What would that mean for your practice growth, for your personal growth as a leader? Would you find studying the type of material presented here today would help you and your company or your practice achieve better results? If the answer is yes, or even maybe, email me, Jennifer@Gener8.solutions. Type the word help in the subject line. That's all you have to say. And I'll get back in touch with you within 24 hours to sort out a chat about how we can support your team to become better connectors and better communicators. I hope this session has added value today and that you've received some really good food for thought and some things you're going to begin implementing as soon as possible. That's us for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.